Coach. Okay, it's 5 p.m. Let me turn down the volume of this. Hi, Bimbo. Good evening. Who else is in Christmas mode? I'm in Christmas mode. I mean, I didn't realize that I was in Christmas mode, but I think till 2 or 3 days ago, right? And I was going somewhere, and I just thought to play a song. And I just started to play this. My son asked I should play Drummer Boy, and I ended up playing. I realized, oh, it's actually November. It's Christmas, and it's time for the festive season of the year and all of that. All right. So, welcome. It is Sunday evening. It is time for Sunday Tonic. It's time for Sunday Tonic. It's that time of the year, so we're all in Christmas mode. Although I feel like, okay, so the shops have just started decorating and all. So I feel like shops have started decorating, but I don't know if people generally are in that Christmas mode. I worry that people are not necessarily in Christmas mode, all right? So I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. So are you in Christmas mode? Are you are you ready for Christmas? Are you counting down? Are you excited? Is there Christmas breeze? Is the Christmas in the air where you are? Let me know. I feel like I need to start creating Christmas in my own air, but it's still raining so much in November, and so it's a bit confusing. We haven't gotten the Hamatan yet, but yeah. So today is taboos in communicating with your boss. Today is taboos in communicating with your boss. Welcome. If you are catching my live for the first time, my name is Nneka Jethre Wobe, known on this platform as the Happy Employee Coach. Why the Happy Employee Coach, right? Because I believe that people should be happy at work. Fundamentally, that's why I do what I do, right? There are different things that can make you happy at work and can make you happier at work. But you can feel the Christmas season. Great, Rachel, thanks. Right, there's many things that can make you happy at work, but I think at the core of it is first of all deciding that you want to be happy at work and believing it is possible for you. I find that many people associate. How do I know this is true? Many people associate the term happy and employee. They don't put the two together, right? I meet people who struggle with putting the term happy and employee together. Generally, when you talk to people feel as if being an employee cannot go hand in hand with being happy. They may not say it directly like that, but the way as employees we carry ourselves, sometimes we carry ourselves like, oh, I'm not really, when you say happy employee, you have to pause. I don't know, and let me know if you agree with me. You pause and you're like, happy employee. And I see this to be true because with the name Happy Employee Coach, I find that when I comment on pages, I get new followers because people feel as if, okay, career and not career coach, not women, what happy employee. What's person talking about? All right, so happy employee, and that's why the name. I believe that people should be happy at work. You can be happy at work, and you deserve to be happy at work. All right, so that is why the name Happy Employee. So who am I? Like I said, my name is Nneka. I have been in corporate Nigeria for about 15 years now, and I have been happy at work. Have there been days that I've been frustrated and almost going to resign immediately? Have there been days where I cried? Have there been days where I felt like, gosh, I'm not doing any again? Yes, there have been days like that, and there will still be days like that. But fundamentally, I face those situations knowing that I should be happy at work. I deserve to be happy at work, and I'm going to do what I can to protect my happiness at and with work. All right, and that's what this is about. So this is Sunday Tonic, like I said, and Sunday Tonic, the idea of Sunday Tonic is in the evenings on Sunday, people are usually tense thinking about work. You're there remembering what you didn't finish doing on Friday. You are drawing up conversations with your boss that you had that did not end very well, and they're just wondering, how will this new week go? All right. So I do Sunday Tonic on Sunday evenings. For a while, for weeks actually, I hadn't come live up till 2 weeks ago. And then so I came up 2 weeks ago and I came up last week, and I'm here today, and I hope to continue to come on live every Sunday evening Even if for 30 minutes, let's connect and let me know how your work week has been and what you want to learn to be happy at work. So, but first of all, it starts with you believing that you can be happy at work, that the concept of being a happy employee is real, is tangible, and it's something that you should experience. All right, it's something that you need to believe and want for yourself. All right, so that's about the happy employee coach. That's about me and my journey and why Sunday tonic. Okay, so today's topic: taboos in communicating with your boss. And if you're still here with me, I'd like you to just send the live to somebody, tag someone to come and join so that they can learn to be happy at work. I had posted earlier about I said the 3 C's of communication, something like that, with your boss, but I just thought, let me change it: taboos in communicating with your boss. And as I started thinking about the topic, right, and what I wanted to share, I said, maybe I should turn this into a book, a mini ebook that I'll give out at no cost. All right, a mini ebook that I give out at no cost, because I started writing, and the points were growing, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot in here. And that's what happens to me, and that's why I know that I'm sent to you watching this video, right? I'm sent to career professionals. I'm sent. My passion is about helping you to actually wake up in the morning and enjoy going to work, and it's possible. You can be happy at work regardless of how much you earn, where you work, how long you've worked. These things can impact your happiness, but you can actually choose to go beyond them to be happy at work. And why do I say this? I have scientific evidence that has shown that there are people who earn a lot more than I do who are not happy at work. So I know it's not necessarily only about the money. All right. Thank you, David. It's not necessarily only about the money. I've seen people who have worked for long periods of time, 10, 15, 20 years, not being happy at work. So it's not about duration. I've seen people who have worked for 1 year and they are truly happy at work, and they continue to be happy at work. All right. And I've seen people who earn a lot, and who earn less, I've seen all sorts of scenarios. All right. So I know that the power to be happy at work, like I say, and I said in my book, Why Your Boss Prefers Your Colleague, the power to be happy at work, you hold the yam and knife. All right. And so I'm thinking that I'm going to turn this into a mini ebook, taboos in communicating with your boss. And let me see how we can help more of us 9 to 5 work career professionals to truly enjoy our jobs. All right. So why the topic of taboos in communicating with your boss? I will start by saying this. All right. What you say, and I try to infuse this in all of my training programs, right? What you say, what you don't say, what you do, what you are not doing. These 4 things. So 1, what you say. 2, what you are not saying. 3, what you do. 4, what you're not doing. These 4 things can and will be used against you, right? They can and will be used against you at work. In the scenario of being at work, of being in a working relationship, there is no option for okay, so I hear this kind of funny things people say, I just go to work and I just mind my business. And when they say they mind their business, what they mean is they go to the office, and they're just like, I go to the office, I get my work done, and I leave there, I don't do anything else, I just mind my business. If you go to work, minding your business is not sitting by yourself and ignoring other people. That's not minding your business. And we will talk about that in another session. All right. But there are taboos in communicating with your boss. And it starts from understanding this fundamental, right? These 4 things I mentioned. 1, what you say, what you don't say, what you do, what you don't do. These 4 things are being used against you, are being used for you, will be used for or against you at work. All right, they are being used against you, will be used against you, will be used for you at work. Okay, so that's why it's important for us to talk about how and what you are communicating with your boss. That is why it's important. Talk about how and what you are communicating with your boss. All right, so in mentioning that, right, it's important to say that your body language is a tool of communication. Your body language is a tool of communication. And I've shared with some of my people before how I was asked to stay back for a meeting on an evening that I didn't think was necessary, and this was many years ago. I didn't have the power. I wasn't in a position at that point in my career to engage the person that sets the meeting and say, can we shift this meeting? I couldn't do that. What did I do? When I entered into the meeting room, I didn't go there and say, yeah, good evening, we are here. Oh, yeah. And be laughing, no. And I didn't go there with quarrel. Oh, please let's start this meeting, No, I just went there and I sat down quietly, and my face was straight, and I had my notepad and my pen, and I was just facing my book ready to write. Like, my face was straight like this. I was the way, there's some all this small banter and all that. I wasn't laughing, I wasn't gisting. After a few seconds, a few minutes, somebody now said, "Oh, Nneka is not happy to be here." I didn't say yes, I didn't say no, but the message was passed across. So that's why I'm saying that what you are saying and what you are not saying, so not necessarily with the words, right? What you are doing and what you are not doing will be used for or against you at work. Okay? So in communicating with your boss, there are 3 categories of communication with your boss. In all the things that you say or do, there are 3. We can categorize the things you say to your boss. We can categorize where you behave near your boss into 3 things, right? There are 3 categories. So number 1, the first one is that what you are communicating can either be a contribution. All right? So you can communicate a contribution where you are saying to your boss, either what you think we should do differently, what your boss should do differently, how your boss should handle the team differently, how you guys as a team should handle a particular piece of work differently. So number 1 category of what you are communicating to your boss is contribution. You're either contributing to the team's growth and the team achieving its goals and objectives, or you are even amplifying the contributions that you have made before. Right? So take note of that. You are either communicating a contribution, which is something new that should be done, or something that can be done better, or something that you can continue to do you should continue to do as a team, or you are amplifying a contribution that you have already made. So that's number 1 category, contribution. All right, you are either saying something that you should do differently, how you should do differently, or you are amplifying something that you should have done. So that's number 1 category of what you are communicating to your boss. All right, so number 1 category is what? Contribution. Number 1 category is contribution. And it's very important to talk about this. In thinking about, and I want you, as you're watching this, I want you to sit down and ask yourself, in the last 1 week or 2 weeks, how often or what portion of your contribution, of your communication, has been contribution? What portion of your communication has been contribution? Ask yourself that question, right? In the last 2 weeks with your boss, in the things you've said in the office. So let's assume you go to work and you guys are generally adjusting, as you guys are getting work done, or you're in a meeting. Think about it. Step back right now this evening, or whenever you're watching this live, and process and ask yourself, what portion of what I have been saying has been contributions? Ask yourself that question. Like I said, contributions are either you're adding value, you are improving the work process, you are making the team a better team, you are doing something to improve how things are being done. That's what contribution is about. All right. So how often, or what's the quantum of contribution, or it is you amplifying something that you have already done well before, right? Or amplifying an effort that you made to achieve a result. Because many times it's not just you which is achieving the results. You also need to let people know, let your boss know the efforts and sacrifices that were put in to achieve that result. It's very important. You let your boss know the efforts and the sacrifices that were achieved, that you put in to achieve that result. Okay, so number 1 is your contribution. So there are things you communicate to your boss. All right, so number 1 is your contribution. How you've improved the process, or how you've changed it, or whatever it is important that you know to contribution. Okay, so number 2 of your communication to your boss is compliments. Number 2 is compliments. So number 1, contribution. Number 2 is compliments. All right, compliments, as the name implies, is you appreciating something, right? Appreciating something. That's what compliment is. You are appreciating something in the team. You are appreciating something that your boss has done or is doing for you. You are appreciating and recognizing something positive. So that's compliment. You are appreciating your boss leadership style. You are appreciating them for teaching you. You are appreciating them for listening to you. You are admiring. Yes, I remember I was in the session where I was training people and I asked them, are there any things you admire about your boss? So you're admiring something positive about them. All right, so that's contribution. You're admiring something positive about them. So that's compliments. Sorry. So number 2 thing is that you communicate to your boss is compliments. All right, you compliment your boss. The second thing you communicate to your boss is compliments. So number 1 is you communicate contributions, and number 2 is you communicate compliments. Number 1 is you communicate contributions. Number 2 is you communicate compliments. All right, so that's the second thing that you communicate in talking with your boss. Number 3 is complaints. So the 3 categories of things that we communicate to our boss are C's. Number 1, contribution. Number 2, compliments. Number 3, complaints. Right? You cannot be in the same place with somebody and not have anything to complain about. You may say, oh, you will not say it, or oh no, oh this, or that, but necessarily, in fact, I always say to people when I'm teaching them about this, I say that even you as a human being, you do things that you don't like. As in, you do things that I will say, Neka, but you don't say you not try you. You didn't do that thing well. I have those kind of moments, right? And I believe everyone does. You have those moments where you do things and you're like, I really didn't do this well. Okay, so you cannot be in a place in the same space with another human being and not have issues with some of the things that they've done. You can say, oh, I will not just talk. If you keep going on and saying, oh, I will not just talk, oh, I'll not just talk, eventually that thing will choke. If you don't talk, it will choke. If you don't talk, it will choke. And unfortunately, many times you're not in control of when it will choke. And you're not in control of your reaction when it chokes. Unfortunately, many times you're not in control of when it chokes and your reaction when it chokes, many times. All right, so 3 things you communicate with your boss, 3 categories. Contributions, like I said, how you're adding value to the team, what you've done to do things differently, your achievements, and the road to those achievements. It's not just enough to say, oh, I had to deliver reports XYZ time. Oh, I had to work extra hours. I had to coach somebody. I had to sacrifice an event to be able to deliver this. You see what I mean? So that's how you communicate contributions. All right, and I'm going to be honing in on this, right, in the intensive workshop coming up. I'm not sure I'll do it in December or in January yet. I'm planning an intensive workshop on securing your next promotion in 2022. I'm planning that workshop either in December or in January. It's going to be 2 days of intensive work, right? Walking you through a blueprint, a framework to secure promotion. So I'm going to hone in on that. So contributions are not just I've arrived at mile 2. No, I had to leave the house at 4 a.m., stop at XYZ place to be able to arrive at mile 2 at 6 a.m. That's how you communicate contribution. All right, and you go on to add layer on that, and you say, oh, because I arrived at mile 2 by 6 o'clock, the team was able to do X and Y and Z. Guys, tell me if that makes sense to you. Let me know if it makes sense to you. So you don't just say, oh, I've arrived at mile 2. It's important that your boss should know that you arrived at mile 2, which is the destination, but the road to arriving at mile 2 and the positive impact of that arrival at mile 2, at the time you arrived at mile 2, and the impact on your work is very important. So I was able to close this deal with this client, right? I was able to convince this customer to wait for their products to arrive in 2 weeks time, because I was able to call them early enough and reach out to them early enough. They were patient enough for us to deliver it at the end of the month, and because we delivered it at the end of the month, and we're able to secure extra revenue and exceed our target. So in contribution, and guys, you see, when it comes to this communication thing, I can just stay here. Now, that's not even the core of where I wanted to go to this evening, and I keep having this happen to me. I've planned something that I want to share, and then before you know it, one portion just holds, because I feel like those things are important. All right, thank you, Doreen. Happy that it's making sense. Okay, so not just saying that, oh, I have delivered the product, I've sent the report. No, let's talk about the journey to sending that report, and let's talk about the impact sending that report had, right, on the business, on your units, right? And if you can even go beyond your units, all right, oh, because of this report was sent at XYZ time, we're able to deliver as a unit on this, and that delivery as a unit on this particular objective now positively impacted the business. That's how you communicate contribution, guys. That is exactly how you communicate contribution. And I'm really happy to share this with you. And like I said, I'm considering writing a free ebook, Taboos in Communicating with Your Boss, and we haven't even gotten to the taboos part yet. Okay, so that's contributions, right? And then number 2 I said is compliments, right? Appreciating your boss. Now I remember I said this in one session, and someone said, I can't think of what to appreciate my boss for. And I said, that's a lie. If you see, there is no human being that you cannot appreciate something in them. right? There's no human being. Either where they are coming from, or how far they've come, right? Or the things they say they want to do, or the things that they are doing. There's always something to admire in somebody, right? That somebody has you on their team, that they're allowing you to contribute, that they value you, you know, or even if they even talk to you, they hate you. They hate you. I agree. But you admire something about them, the way they style their hair, the way they, you know, they come early to work. You admire the relationship with their own boss. You know, I was talking to someone and the person said, oh, that she admires the relationship of her boss with the boss's own boss. And I'm like, that's something to admire. Do you understand? Someone says, oh, I just feel like my boss just generally just gets her boss. Like, she just gets her boss. She understands. That's something to admire. Admire how far they've come in their career, you know, the things they've been able to achieve. There's always something to compliment your boss about. There's always something to compliment your boss's boss about. There's always something to compliment your team members about. So that's number 2. And number 3 is complain. Like I said, there is no way you can be in the same space with somebody and not have something to complain about. And when you are complaining, let me hone in on complaint a bit. And time is going, right? But let me hone in on complaint a bit. Many times when we go to complain in the workplace, we think that complaining in the workplace is a ranting session. Complaining in the workplace is not a ranting session. You complain for results. You complain for change, to land at a change in behavior. You don't complain to rant. No. You complain to get a change in behavior. You complain to get a change in behavior. All right? And so when you are going to complain, you are complaining with facts. So you need to be sure that you have enough information to paint the scenario to the person you are complaining to about what it is that has happened. All right? And you are complaining with a clear strategy on what you want the person to do differently. All right? And you are complaining, highlighting what the impact of that behavior is on you as regards work. So let me give you an example. In fact, examples are just flying in my head. Because I think 2 weeks ago we talked about setting boundaries at work. All right? Setting boundaries at work. And we talked about the importance of setting time boundaries at work. So let me use time boundaries as an example. Let me just follow from there. Time boundaries as an example. All right? So complain. Let's say you want to complain about your boss not respecting your time boundaries. Here's what you do. Remember I said you are going with evidence. So you need to be sure that it's not just a one-off that your boss has, used made you work too late unnecessarily. That could have been avoided. Your boss has made you work weekend, Saturday, Sunday, back to back. You need to also be careful that you're not just going to rant. So you have your facts. On XYZ day, I was supposed to go to XYZ place, but you required that I stayed back, and we still couldn't achieve what we wanted to achieve, right? On the other weekend, you called me and I was at a wedding and I had to step out and I couldn't go back to attend what I was supposed to do at that wedding. On this day, this happened. Now, you give 2-3 examples. I said, what this has done for me is that it makes me feel like, I'm not valued, right? It makes me feel like, my time is not important to me. And it's really important to me for me to spend time outside work doing non-work stuff, right? So that I can be more productive at work. When I worked late that back to back, what then happened was that 2 weeks later I was in the hospital. Because I was in the hospital, we couldn't meet XYZ timeline. And that made us look not so good in front of your boss. So what I would rather prefer next time is that I'm able to do 1, 2, 3 on time and leave so that I can be able to pay attention to these things. Do you understand? So in complaining, you are complaining constructively. You're not ranting, guys. And someone can help me type that. Complaint at work is not ranting. Complaint at work is not ranting. It's not a venting session, right? The session that you want that is constructive and specifies the behavior that you want in the future. All right? So those are the 3 C's of communicating with your boss. Let me go into 1 or 2 taboos, which is our major focus for today, right? So before I touched on the topic or changed the topic to taboos in communicating with your boss, I really wanted to hone in on the 3 C's of communicating with your boss. That was the first thing I want to talk about today. All right, I'm wondering if I should leave it at that, and then next week we'll continue with some taboos. But let me know if it has made sense to you so far. The 3 C's of communicating with your boss: contribution. I'll give you examples of how you should contribute. I've talked about how you should structure your contribution, and then I've talked about complaints. Thank you, Chichi. I've talked about complaints. I've talked about compliments. All right. You cannot tell me there's nothing that you admire about your boss that you can compliment them about. All right. You can't say that. You can't say that. Honestly, you can't. There's nothing that your boss has done that you can compliment them about. That's not possible. Okay. So those are the 3 C's of communication. Before I leave that, there is a ratio you should think about when you are communicating with your boss. Always evaluate your communication. At the end of a work week, sit down and ask yourself, over the course of this last week, what has been the major substance of my communication with my boss? All right? At the end of every work week, ask yourself. See, sometimes why I like doing these lives, in quotes, it's kind of selfish, because it helps me to also check myself. So I remember that, I think it was in June or so, right? Thank you, Rachel. It was in June. And one day, I think I was either coaching someone, one of my one-on-one coaching people, or I was about to go live and I was preparing my notes. And it occurred to me that, Nneka, in this week, you have done a lot of complaining to your boss. And it's not even the kind of complaining, that's another thing. It wasn't even the kind of complaining that was, change this or change that. It was more of complaining about work, about how tired I was, about how ill I was. And I said, Nneka, be careful. Be conscious. Wake up. You can't train your boss to get used to hearing complaints from you. Hey, that's a rema right there. Don't train your boss to get used to expecting complaints from you. And when I mean complaint, not just criticism in terms of constructive feedback, but complaints in terms of how tired you are about the work. And that's one of the taboos of communication. In the 3 C's, right, the ratio of your 3 C's, right, should be either 70-20-10 or 60-20-20. So your contributions, either by way of what you are doing or what you've done well, or you amplifying something that you've done before, right, should be 60% of your communication with your boss. Why is that important? Because, like I always tell you guys, at the heart of why you were hired is that you were hired to help your boss. I don't get the fancy title you have. For example, I'm a senior manager right where I work, but at the core of it, I was hired to help my boss succeed. Okay? So the ratio of your contributions at work should be, to my mind, 70-20-10, which means 70% of your communication should be your contributions, what you've done to make the work easier, amplifying what you've been doing, amplifying, like I give you guys already an example, a detailed example of how to communicate your contributions. It's not just saying, like I said, I went to Mount Su, and for those who are just joining, you need to want to go back and watch that, right? And I'm going to upload it on my YouTube channel, okay? So it's not just saying, oh, I did this and I've done it. No, there is a science to communicating your contributions right, impactfully. There is a science to communicating your contributions impactfully, guys. All right? So, I'm so excited talking about this, okay? There is a science to it, okay? So, or 60-20-20. So, if you look at your contributions in a week with your boss, right? 60% should be your communications, rather. 60% should be your contributions. What you've done to help improve the work. What you've done differently this week. And how you are pleased with the outcome of it. How you help the team achieve their goals. The sacrifices that you had to make to help the team achieve their goals. You know, how you've made sacrifices for your boss, right? You know, to be able to achieve what they want to. So a boss says to you, I can't even figure out how I'm going to be able to deliver XYZ at XYZ time. And you're able to step back and say, oh, I think that if I help you to do X, you can get to Y. And in your informal communications, you remember to mention it. In your informal communications, you remember to mention it. So maybe today's topic is actually the strategies to communicating contributions. But again, using that, people may not really understand. So I'll leave it as taboos in communicating with your boss, part 1. And then I think next week we will continue still on this taboos in communicating with your boss, right? So, but let me say that I used today to lay the foundation, right, for communicating with your boss. Like I said at the beginning, what you say, what you don't say, what you do, what you don't do. These 4 things can, are, and will be used for or against you at work. These 4 things, what you say, what you don't say, what you do, what you don't do. These 4 things can and will be used for or against you at work. So you've got to be careful how you are communicating, because these 4 things communicate, whether or not you want to. whether or not you want them to communicate, these 4 things. Excuse me. These 4 things communicate. All right. So today we've talked about communication at work. We've talked about the 3 C's of communication. All right. In talking about taboos in communicating with your boss, and I'll continue with this next week Sunday. Right. Talk about the taboos in communicating with your boss. We'll talk about. I'll continue talking. Like I said, I think. What do you guys think? Do you think I should turn this into a free ebook? The taboos in communicating with your boss. I think I'll turn it into a free ebook. But you've got to promise me that you will tag your friends to download the book. Not that you download it and send it to them. You download the book. You tag them to come to my link in bio and download the book. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, there is a 2-day intensive workshop coming up either in December or in January, right? Where I'm going to teach you how to strategize to secure your next promotion. All right. It's an intensive workshop. I will provide a blueprint framework, the step-by-steps that you should follow to have a promotion conversation with your boss. All right. How you can position as a high performer with minimal additional effort. All right. How you can position as a high performer with minimal additional effort. It's 25,000. Early bird is 25,000. The full fee is 35,000. It's going to be an intensive. You will leave the workshop with templates that you can use, things that you can go back to and check and ask yourself, right? Appraise yourself on a quarterly basis. How am I doing? Am I communicating right? Is my boss hearing me well? Have I checked with my boss in the last 1 month how I'm doing towards this promotion? I was talking with someone who reached out to me for advice, and she said she was surprised how just by asking her boss for something, she actually got it. And she was like, and to her mind, she didn't think she was deserving of it but she never asked. You've got to build confidence, and there's a science to building confidence to asking for promotion. There's a science to it. There's a science to building confidence to ask for promotion. All right, so that the link is, if you go to the link in my bio, you see details of what you're going to get from that class. I'm going to throw in a bonus of one of my webinars that I've done before that will be free, either to teach your boss to treat you right, or speaking the language your boss understands. One of those webinars will be free for those who sign up early. All right, so I hope you found today's session value adding. I hope that you picked 1 or 2 things to make next week beautiful. Like I said to you guys, I like to do Sunday Tonic because it's done on Sunday evenings to turn up your feeling about work on Monday. That's the idea, to turn it up. I want you to approach Monday from a more positive standpoint, from a place of happiness and a place of joy. So before we go, let's say our affirmations, right? I am a happy employee. I add value wherever I work. I will be treated with value wherever I work. I am a happy employee. I add value wherever I work. I will be treated with value wherever I work. I hope you have found today's session value adding. Thanks for hanging with me till now. I don't like to keep the lives too long so that people can come back and watch it later on. So it's been 35 minutes-ish of gisting with you guys. Thanks for hanging with me, and I hope you found, like I said, the heart's going. Thank you. And I hope you've had, thank you. I hope you've had value. And you're going to go into this week and practice some of these things I've talked about. As you go into this week, think about it. Assess what you have been communicating with your boss. Assess it. You may have been the one working against yourself. You may have been the one working against yourself and truncating your promotion. All right. So thanks, guys. And we'll continue next week with taboos in communicating with your boss. Have a great and happy week ahead. Bye.